What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on FantasyPros with a 12-team full PPR mock where we will be selecting 9th overall. It should be pretty interesting. And as far as our roster is concerned, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's pretty much it. So let's kick this thing off. And while we wait, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section, agree, disagree with these picks. Any questions you guys might have, we'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's dive into it. And I will quickly look at the draft board here because I do think this 9th draft spot is a pretty interesting one as far as, potential tier breaks. Obviously, we're going to get a tier 1 guy in the first round, but what's going to happen in the second round? Maybe it's 1 or 2 spots, mostly 1 spot off of potentially getting a tier 1 guy in the second round. We'll see how it plays out. But what I'm thinking here, just being very, very transparent, right? I think it makes more sense to go wide receiver in the first round because I think there's a better chance that somebody like a Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, or Saquon Barkley falls to us. So yeah, technically, depending on how this plays out, we're going to be outside of that still really strong tier in the second round because we're going to pick here, then there's going to be 6 more picks, which means Brown, Puka, Gibbs, Taylor, Barkley, and somebody else will be selected, or you would think. But let's get back to our own selection here. So I do want to get a difference maker at the wide receiver position and at the running back position. I'm going to take the chance here and go wide receiver first, and maybe play the odds. I think the odds are slim, but maybe there's a chance that Gibbs, Taylor, or Barkley fall to us. If that's the case, I'd be pretty happy. And, it's a bit of a gamble, but let's see if it pays off. So we're going to go Garrett Wilson here first. And then we shall see what happens in the next couple of picks. But let's also bring up the draft board because I don't think I actually went through the first several picks here. Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall were the first 2 picks. I'd love to see Breece Hall going at the number 2 or the number 3. Bijan, I think, also belongs in that conversation. Then it was CD, Tyreek, the top 2 wide receivers, followed by the aforementioned Bijan. I don't have any problems with this top 5. Then Jamar Chase, I'd probably go that way as well. I think he's slots in nicely at 6. Justin Jefferson at 7. I would have him behind Amon-Ra, behind Garrett Wilson, honestly. Then after we went Garrett Wilson, it was Puka Nacua. It was A.J. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyren Williams. So here's one of those surprises I was mentioning. I was potentially thinking that we might have to take Kyren Williams in the second round here. And then a second surprise, Marvin Harrison Jr. also goes in the second round, followed by Saquon Barkley. So, that gamble did pay off. Jonathan Taylor is still there. I think he's by far and away the best player option here, by far and away the best running back. High upside. So I'm going to go with JT here. And this is why we made that gamble to go wide receiver first, then see if that running back dropped to us. And here it pays off. So I'm happy with how the first 2 rounds went for us. Now, here it will be interesting to see what we have left available. Looking at the draft board after we went JT, Devontae Adams, Travis Etienne, Michael Pittman, then Derrick Henry, Pacheco, Travis Kelce. So, Travis Kelce early on there at the 210 and ahead of Laporta. Achane of the Dolphins, Patrick Mahomes, the first quarterback off the board at the 212. I don't like that. Honestly, it could be any quarterback. I just don't like the spot. Mike Evans, Drake London drops. I think that's really good value. Chris Olave also really good value at the 303. Then Josh Allen, Sam Laporta, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, and Lamar Jackson. So somebody like a Jalen Hurts is still there. I think it's too early for him. So what I'm thinking right now is if we went with wide receiver, guys I have circled are maybe a Jalen Waddle, a Cooper Kupp. Ayuk, I think, is too crowded in a situation in San Francisco. I can't rely on the efficiency he had last year. So I think here what we're going to do is probably go with Rachaad White first and then with one of those wide receivers maybe. So let's go Rachaad White here. I also do like James Cook. So if those wide receivers are all selected, I might be going James Cook, honestly. Oof. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happened. So after we went with Rashad White, Brendan Ayuk, Joe Mixon, but then Cooper Kupp, DK, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Hurts. So those were the two wide receivers I was looking at. Nico Collins, I keep going back and forth on him. Honestly, I do. I want to be upfront with you guys on it. Like, there's a world where I still do think he's going to be the number one guy in Houston, but I could see the stats really going down. Competition with Diggs, Tank Dell healthy, Dalton Schultz there, so it's really intriguing. I think I'm probably going to go with James Cook. He really had a nice end to the year last year when play calling duties were kind of switched up a little bit to show you our team. We've got Taylor, Rashad White. Let's go with James Cook. We have our running back situation taken care of. I do think that Garrett Wilson is a very solid number one wide receiver. If that wasn't the case, then I would have gone with probably Nico Collins. Looking at the draft board again, after we went James Cook, it was McBride, it was Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors, Debo, Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, and Mark Andrews. McBride going at the 405 a little bit earlier than I anticipated. Malik Neighbors, I was hoping he might drop to us. Doesn't. Devonta Smith, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker. Kincaid also goes. So some of those upper echelon tight ends go off the board, followed by C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson. So the top remaining quarterbacks are also off the board, followed by Zay Flowers and Ramondre. So looking at the wide receivers here, I like Christian Kirk. I like George Pickens. Probably will go with George Pickens here. And then in the next round, might consider some tight ends. We'll see here. But I like George Pickens. I like guys like Terry McLaurin, T. Higgins. I don't mind them. Christian Kirk also comes to mind. We need to load up on wide receivers. So Christian Kirk did go off the board. Nice. I kind of expected as much. Now the question is, do we want to wait on tight end? There have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tight ends drafted. Let's gamble. There's 1, 2, 3 teams that need a tight end. Are both Evan Ingram and Kyle Pitts going to be drafted? If they are, then we wait for the next guy, probably Ferguson at tight end. Here, I would probably select Evan Ingram or Kyle Pitts, toss a coin. But since I want to load up on the wide receiver position, I will go with T. Higgins, a very solid number 2 in Cincinnati. Contract type of year. Also, Terry McLaurin is somebody that I like, but I'm going to give the slight edge to T. Higgins. I'm not really too worried about the bye weeks, so we go with T. Higgins. Ooh, and we luck out at tight end. The gamble pays off. So Evan Ingram is still there. Our draft board, both Evan Ingram and Kyle Pitts are still there. Interesting. So George Kittle was selected. Terry McLaurin immediately after our T. Higgins pick. DeAndre Swift, Tank Dell, Keenan Allen, Joe Burrow, Dak, James Conner, Rashee Rice, Chris Godwin, Najee, Jonathan Brooks, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Jordan Love, Tony Pollard. So here I'm going Evan Ingram or Kyle Pitts. I mean, I think the upside for Kyle Pitts is higher. I honestly do. But maybe Evan Ingram is a little bit of a safer choice. So it depends what you're looking for, right? I'll go with Evan Ingram, but it's honestly, I think it's tit for tat. It doesn't really matter too much. I mean, if I really wanted to, I can go with Kyle Pitts since he still wasn't drafted. The draft board, what we saw: Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, JSN, Jaden Reed, Raheem, Austin Eckler. I was potentially hoping Raheem might fall to us. Running backs here, I think Zach Moss could be a decent play. Ladd McConkey is a high upside, rookie wide receiver, even though I'm also a really big fan of Josh Palmer. But let's go with a high upside running back here. Get another one. I think we did a good job of getting some wide receivers. I know we've already got T. Higgins, but Zach Moss is a bench guy. So is T. Higgins, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to go with Zach Moss. I know there's some uncertainty there because Chase Brown is also in part of the equation, but I personally think that Zach Moss is the guy, should be the guy. So I went with him. I believe Lad McConkey was also drafted pretty quickly afterwards. Yeah, there he goes. Oh, Kyle Pitts finally went, and so did David Njoku. So now, again, looking at the cheat sheet, Jerome Ford is a good pick at this point in time. I really do think that. Nick Chubb, nobody really knows when he's going to return and at what percentage he's going to return. So I like Jerome Ford here as, maybe a start of the season type of guy for us. So I like Jerome Ford. Now let's see what we're working with our wide receiver. How many more picks do we have? We've got 3 more picks to make. I like Brian Thomas as a high upside rookie as well. Roma Dunze, that's a pretty full, wide receiver room. Josh Palmer also. I mentioned him before, but let's give some love to a rookie in Brian Thomas. And then we'll make one more selection. And, I think we're going to have potentially Josh. Oh, wow. Last 2 picks, Curtis Samuel, Josh Palmer. Yeah, I can't say I'm too surprised. They were really good values there. So now, I think now I'm just going to go with, honestly, I'm going to go with my quarterback here. And maybe the way we do it is I'll go with Aaron Rodgers and then high upside quarterbacks that are still left. I mean, Brock Purdy, I know he played really well last year, but don't get too excited with that. I don't see here anyone, unless I'm missing somebody that's super high upside too. You've got the injury concerns, right? Justin Herbert, maybe, but no, I think I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to like that pick. I don't really care. I don't agree with it personally. If we want a wide receiver, maybe Jacoby Myers would be the pick. Yeah, probably. So let's go with Aaron Rodgers first. Or actually, let's go with Jacoby Myers first. Or did we make all of our picks? Here, let's see. Jacoby Myers is still there. So I'm going to go Jacoby Myers. And then let's go with a quarterback who will be Aaron Rodgers. You get the nice little stack between Wilson and Rodgers. And let's see the draft grade we get. Let's see if FantasyPros likes our draft. We got a B+. I don't mind the draft. I think we did a really good job at running back. Then we bounced back well at wide receiver. So I do think those are the strengths of the team. Quarterback, we'll see how that plays out. But there's a lot of options in free agency, things like that. I really like the bench as well. But hey, let me know your thoughts. If you agree, disagree, let us hear in the comments section. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. And any other questions you guys might have, we'll do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.